This incident, while not directly linked to the events of June 25th, reflects the ongoing momentum of violence against police stations in the country. 400 armed individuals stormed the facility, demanding the release of 4 prisoners arrested earlier on for theft of stock. They engaged in sexual violence, theft, and broke into homes and businesses. Such acts not only violated the law, but also betrayed the very ideals the protests purported to uphold. When demonstrations descend into violence, intimidation, and destruction of property, in addition, we received credible reports of assault and sexual violence committed by criminals who had earlier infiltrated the demonstrations, further compounding the gravity of the situation. On June 26, 2025, Nduyunjeru Police Station in North Kinangop sub-county experienced a very, very violent incident. Automated teller machines were violently broken into and millions of shillings stolen in the midst of the chaos. When a bona fide protest is infiltrated by criminal elements, it becomes a threat to national security and a threat to public safety. Including uniforms and anti-riot gear stolen have so far been recovered and the perpetrators apprehended. Businesses, both public and private, were not spared either. Notably, several wholesale and retail outlets within the Nairobi CBD, Kitengela, Dagoretti, Naivasha, and Nyeri, amongst others, were brazenly looted and vandalized. This is an update on our investigations into the criminal activities that we experienced as a country during the June 25th, 2025 protests. As you are aware, in a press address on June 24th, 2025, the Inspector General of the National Police Service urged those Kenyans who were organizing and those planning to participate in the demonstrations the following day of Wednesday, 25th June 2025, to do so within the confines of our law. The Inspector General emphasized the importance of maintaining order during the protests and pledged the full support of the police in ensuring the safety and security of all the participants. The Inspector General reassured citizens that their right to peaceful assembly, as enshrined in Article 37 of our Constitution, would be upheld, and that law enforcement will facilitate a secure environment for the exercise of their rights. However, on Wednesday, June 2025, Kenya witnessed demonstrations dubbed Gen Z anniversary protests. While some citizens turned out peacefully to exercise their constitutional rights to assemble and express dissent, a well-coordinated network of criminal actors infiltrated and hijacked these demonstrations. These criminals came out with the sole intention to cause chaos, loot, destroy lives and property, with a clear, coordinated agenda to forcibly enter lawfully protected areas and destroy government installations. We acknowledge with deep sorrow that these events resulted into the loss of innocent lives. We extend our heartfelt condolences to the families who have unfortunately and regrettably lost their loved ones. Law enforcement officers suffered significant harm while protecting genuine protesters, property, and maintaining law and order, with at least 11 officers sustaining serious injuries, some life-threatening. Every life loss is a tragedy that shakes the conscience of our nation. We mourn with you and we remain committed to ensuring that justice is not only done, but is seen to be done. No family should ever suffer such pain under the pretense of protests or the breakdown of public order. We confirm that what began as peaceful civic education in certain parts of the country quickly devolved into orchestrated violence. Intelligence and arrest records reveal that some individuals with specific instructions to attack public institutions and security installations were ferried in unmarked vehicles from particular areas that security agencies are currently looking into. Our investigations have unearthed a series of deeply troubling incidents. There was widespread destruction of critical government infrastructure, such as Kikuyu law courts, Kikuyu government offices, and multiple police stations, including Olkalau Police Station, Dagoretti, Gajui Police Post, and the Kamukunji Police Station, amongst others. Several firearms and police equipment were stolen during these attacks, and disturbingly, some of these weapons have already been used in violent robberies last night within Naivasha Police Station area. The G3 rifle that was stolen from Kikuyu Police Station was used in the commission of violent robberies within Naivasha Police Station. A grenade launcher, 4 guns, and other police equipment, including uniforms and anti-riot gear stolen, have so far been recovered and the perpetrators apprehended. Businesses, both public and private, were not spared either. Notably, several wholesale and retail outlets within the Nairobi CBD, Kitengela, Dagoretti, Naivasha, and Nyeri, amongst others, were brazenly looted and vandalized. Automated teller machines were violently broken into and many millions of shillings stolen in the midst of the chaos. In addition, we received credible reports of assault and sexual violence committed by criminals who had earlier infiltrated the demonstrations, further compounding the gravity of the situation. On June 26, 2025, Nduyunjeru Police Station in North Kinangop sub-county experienced a very, very violent incident where approximately 400 armed individuals stormed the facility, demanding the release of 4 prisoners arrested earlier on for theft of stock. Despite the officers' resistance, the crowd overwhelmed them, resulting in the burning of the police station and the tragic suffocation and deaths of 3 suspects who were in custody, whereas one is currently hospitalized and is in a very, very critical situation. This incident, while not directly linked to the events of June 25th, reflects the ongoing momentum of violence against police stations in the country, a trend that continues to threaten law and order and as well jeopardize our nation's peace and security. Fellow Kenyans, we must not allow our nation to spiral into anarchy and chaos. The police will not remain passive while lawlessness threatens our collective peace and our collective security. As of today, 485 individuals have been arrested in connection to what happened on June 25th. Of these, 448 have already been charged in court and 37 remain under active investigation, some pending further custodial hearings. The charges range from murder, terrorism, rape, gang rape, arson, obstruction of police officers while on duty, breaking and stealing, robbery and as well robberies with violence, stealing from locked motor vehicles, incitement to violence, handling stolen goods, malicious damage to property, and possession of illegal firearms. Further investigations, including statements obtained from those arrested suspects, reveal a deliberate and well-funded plot to incite chaos, civil unrest, and widespread anarchy under the guise of public protest. Evidence indicates that the individuals were strategically mobilized and transported particularly into Nairobi from various parts of the country, not to express their legitimate grievances, but to execute a well-coordinated agenda of disruption and violence. These actions were not by any means spontaneous. They were orchestrated, and we are actively pursuing the key planners, the mobilizers, the financiers, and the facilitators behind this scheme, and they will be brought to justice very soon. The complaints we have received from across the country draw a clear and troubling line between lawful protest and outright criminality. While some youthful protesters joined the demonstration in good faith, some individuals tragically, even some who had marched peacefully, later turned on fellow Kenyans. They engaged in sexual violence, theft, and broke into homes and businesses. Such acts not only violated the law, but also betrayed the very ideals the protests purported to uphold. When demonstrations descend into violence, intimidation, and destruction of property, they do not advance any cause. They discredit it. They erode public sympathy and distort the message of those who genuinely seek reform through lawful and other constructive means. It must be clearly understood that the right to protest is protected under our Constitution, no doubt, and we respect the voice of every Kenyan seeking accountability and reform. However, when a bona fide protest is infiltrated by criminal elements, it becomes a threat to national security and a threat to public safety. I must commend those who protested peacefully and distanced themselves from acts of lawlessness. Some among them became victims, themselves were attacked, robbed, or assaulted by those who took advantage of the mob. To those who orchestrated, funded, and mobilized the undermining of genuine protests, your actions are an assault to the exercise of the sovereign power of the people of Kenya. It has not gone unnoticed, and as you will be swiftly held accountable for your deeds.